thunderstorms are beginning to move into northwest Arkansas
Yeah,
and the
let's
River
do
Valley
it.
now. Hi there, everyone. Strong to severe thunderstorms beginning to move into northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, and it has not taken a very long time for these to take off. Let's go ahead and take a look at how heating, cooling, mega Doppler right off the bat here. And you can see these thunderstorms are just outside of our coverage area right now, but they're beginning to move into western LaFleur County, just to the west of Huebner and LaFleur. You can see this area of rotation beginning to show up on the map here. Again, it's starting to tighten up just a little bit. If we go back a few scans here, you'll see that the storm is really starting to tap into the wind shear and the environment that it has in place. We talked about this over the last several days, how we could see these thunderstorms take off once they got into a little bit of a better environment. We're seeing that deep layer of moisture also begin to stream in to the river valley. That's why we're seeing this rotation. We have another one, too, just to the northwest of there. This was near Stigler earlier, and if we took a look at this storm a little bit earlier as well, you could see that area of rotation show up. on the map there. So these little embedded areas of rotation along the line, what we are watching for the potential for severe weather. So Dan Scoff is in here right now as well. He's keeping track of these thunderstorms as they begin to really ramp up here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Now, it does look like at this current time, northwest Arkansas doesn't have any storms to really look at. But remember, these things can change really, really quickly, especially with the environment that we have in place, with the amount of wind shear, helicity.
They are dumping heavy rain, though.
Yeah,
be aware of that. That hydroplaning will be very easily happening with the amount of, even though those small showers, they're still dumping tremendous amounts of rainfall and heavy rain at that.
Yeah, and it doesn't even look like much on the radar, but you step outside and it is pouring.
Yeah,
outside.
We have a comment on there saying it's pouring.
Yep. Good morning. It is pouring, and that is exactly a great way to describe it, Garrett. It is pouring outside indeed. Let's go back to that storm that's going on near the River Valley because this is the one that we're watching closely. I had a little bit more a rotation just a moment ago, but it's still there. You could clearly see it on the radar, and these storms are getting into that environment. It's untapped right now in the River Valley. We haven't had any of that prefrontal convection. We saw a little bit of that in northwest Arkansas earlier today. Earlier on this morning, we had a few storms that moved through northwest Arkansas, but there was nothing that was too crazy. But that may have stabilized things just a little bit and kept the instability from surging north. And there is not a lot of instability at all. And I'll tell you this too. This morning we had several tornadoes that were observed tornadoes in northwest Arkansas and in the River Valley, not northwest Arkansas, River Valley, Oklahoma, and in Texas as well. And those were tornadoes that happened with basically no surface level cape, right? So we talked about it. There was a lack of instability in place. That was the reason why it was a little bit tougher for these thunderstorms to get going. And guess what? They overcame it anyway because it's such a powerful storm system now. Let's take a look here. This is an interesting little area. I hope I'm saying this right. Talhini, hopefully I'm saying that right, to the northwest of Whitesboro. That's the area that we're watching right now near LaFleur. I'm going to move myself out of the way so you can see that. These are the little areas that we're watching for these enhanced Boeing segments. And that can cause those tornadoes to show up, that can cause areas of rotation to show up. You can see it there a little bit earlier. It was a little bit more impressive. Back right around here, it was getting a little dicey there, but then it kind of gusted out just a little bit. But this is typical of this type of severe weather event where we see these areas of rotation come and go. And here you go. Here's a new area right here of rotation beginning to show up just to the southwest of the floor. Remember, these are not in our area yet, but they are going to be moving in within like the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. So don't be surprised if we start seeing at the least severe thunderstorm warnings. I think if this thing keeps tightening up, we need to keep an eye on that. This area as well, just to the north of South, so we're watching pretty closely for maybe the potential for a rotation. But I think the most pressing one is here just to the west of LaFleur County. So we're continuing to watch this very closely as it unfolds. There's a lot of different things that can go down with this event. It's a very interesting severe weather event, in my opinion, because of just the lack of instability that we have in place. But despite that, we're still seeing severe thunderstorms. Look down here, just to the west of Paris, we've got a new tornado warning. And that's the one saving grace that we've got right now with this system, is that we're not seeing that instability surge back north as quickly as it is in far southeast Oklahoma, far northeast Texas, into southern Arkansas. That's where the instability is still kind of in place. There's not a lot of it, but you're not going to need a lot of it for these storms to really take off. And I'll tell you what, we're going to need to watch this storm pretty closely right now to the west of LaFleur. That looks a little bit interesting here. Hold on just a second. Instability is a limiting factor. So yeah, so again, right now there's not a whole lot that's going on with this. This storm right here, Dan's pretty interesting though.
I know.
That one right there is one we're certainly gonna have to watch. But again, the one saving grace, and this is the reason why we haven't, probably seen these storms take off as quickly, because look what's going on down. If we move a little bit further south in Paris, you've got tornado warning down here, severe thunderstorm warnings. That's because the instability was already in place just to the west of Paris. So right now it's beginning to nose in to the river valley, and it's coming in at the last second. But with all the parameters that we have in place, and Dan, I mentioned earlier, we talked about how the limiting factor was instability. We had a tornado in central Oklahoma earlier this morning that had basically no cape.
Yeah.
In fact, it had zero.
It was in
surface
Wayne,
land.
Oklahoma.
Yep.
Wayne, Oklahoma, no cape, and the storm. What was weird is the storm kind of evolved. You can see the way that it was like basically a cell merge that took place.
Yeah. And these cells, they're interacting with each other. They're all, along this kind of broken QLCS line.
I mean, here's the deal, man. Like when we're talking about the amount of spin that's in the atmosphere, it is absolutely tremendous right now. So the spin is just, I mean, we're talking what you typically see values of like 100, 200 for what's called meters squared per second squared for 0 to 1 kilometer helicity. This is like 600 to 700. So
like
we're
off the
almost 6 times the amount that we normally see in terms of that low level helicity, which helicity is basically the turning of the winds with height. So you have a wind speed and wind direction change with height. That's what helicity is. The 0 to 1 kilometer helicity is really important for tornadoes. It's actually even underneath that. It's like from the surface to about as high as a half kilometer and sometimes even lower than that, because that horizontal roll that's happening from the wind shear is creating that that horizontal vortex, which gets pulled up into the vertical to form a tornado. So we had a comment from Shayla saying lots of lightning. Now these storms are starting to increase in intensity, and so we'll take a look here at Mega Doppler. By the way, the time right now is about 10:12, 10:13 now.
Right on cue for these storms.
Just hit 10 o'clock. That's exactly when we said they would be rolling in. So not necessarily the morning commute, but late morning, and for those that are around. But you'll notice here the difference in instability. I mean, this is kind of a congealed mess in terms of rain and thunderstorms. However, it's not severe. So northwest Arkansas will appear to be, unless this line comes in, dodging a bullet.
And you know what I saw this morning, Dan, when I was observing storms out in central Oklahoma, right along the I-40 corridor, right south of there, just south of OKC, that's where those storms were picking up. Because the warm front hadn't nosed far enough north yet. It was staying kind of along I-40, right I-40. That's what's happening right now. The warm front is beginning to nose into the river valley right now. But the front to the north of it, where the low pressure system is becoming occluded.
Yeah.
So it's not going to reach northwest Arkansas, I don't think. We're not going to see that air moisture. And that's what we call dodging a bullet.
That is dodging a bullet. This, in terms of the winds and what we call kinematics, the fancy word is basically kinematics, dynamics. It's the winds with the system. They're off the charts.
Oh, absolutely.
And you saw what happened in Oklahoma, Wayne, Oklahoma. No instability. There's their surprise. There's the Springdale tornado for them that happened in Wayne, Oklahoma. So we got a lot of lightning now that's showing up. Let's check out some weather probe cameras because people are mentioning it. So if we bring up some of those cameras on Megadop, remember you loaded all those up. We got them all there. So let's go to the Fulbright. Fulbright Junior High might have some lightning coming in from the west. So there's you got it tilted west. I want to raise that up. So I'll go ahead and do that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I moved all the cameras to face the west.
So just to let you know, what's really easy is to hit a preset. If you hit the preset and go west, it should tilt up a little bit and give you a little more of a sky view. So if we click on this, you'll see here. Watch, Josh. I'll show you. If we go to Fulbright and you click on website, and then what you're going to do is bring this up full. You'll see this move on camera. So instead of adjusting it, I don't know, did you adjust it down here on the pan?
I did.
Okay. So if you just go here and go west, watch what happens. It's going to tilt up a little bit, give you just a little bit more of a sky. So that's something that we'll watch. But we'll go through some of those cameras and see the downpours that are happening. At
So
the
we
same
got-
time, we don't want to lose focus of that storm
Let's look at the
that's
Miss Lore's cam.
entering into the river valley.
This is facing
South.
southwest.
Yep.
See that's the storm starting to stream into Fort Smith. This is the public library also facing southwest. Let's go back up to northwest Arkansas. This is Decatur, pouring down rain right now in Decatur. Bella Vista, pouring down rain
Yeah.
right now, to say the least.
Yeah.
Kiddos in school. Here's our Alma weather camera. This should be facing to the west as well. I did adjust this one. You can see that. Look how low those clouds are. They're very low, and they're moving fast too,
Yeah.
which is a
very
sign
fast.
that the low level jet is cranking above our heads right now. Let's look at the Bentonville Square. You can see some dark clouds there in the background, pouring down rain. Kessler Mountain. I don't know if we're going to get a view. We do. And you can see it's pouring at Kessler Mountain.
Yeah, so
Mount
this is
Spring.
the rain that we
Yeah.
were talking about, and that's exactly why we removed the alert day for most of Northwest Arkansas. We look at the latest risk; it's going to be coming out here real soon. I imagine we might be bumping it up farther south. Look at that! And I see a little bit of a base now. This is where Lincoln.
Yep. This is in Lincoln.
Okay, so
This is
that
facing west.
Facing west. Yeah, look at that! A little bit of
There is a little rotation there.
a lowering right there. So bounce back to Mega Doppler. We'll show you what we're looking at. So here we are, Lincoln, looking west southwest.
West southwest.
Yeah. So there's that little cell, and along the leading edge of that line, there is a little bit of what we call a base of a thunderstorm. And then there's the line. Notice how this is just all like kind of rain. We've got the velocity data on at the same time. But there's the rain, heavy rain too, some lightning and thunder. And then you kind of get down here, and all of a sudden the cell starts taking on a little bit more of an enhanced look, if you will, a little bit stronger storm. This is the very northern edge, I think, of that instability axis. At barely. It's just amazing how it does that. Then you go farther south, cells are starting to increase in intensity, and they get a little bit strong.
There was a report of rotation near Antlers, Oklahoma, which is a little further southwest, and
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah, that's this cell right here.
Yeah,
And you can clearly see that.
that's a legit storm.
And so that's definitely there. There's the rotation. And then you can see how it moves northeast, and that same cell will be rotating. Now, if we track that over time, we want to let you know where this is headed. It would be across southern LaFleur County, just outside of the tornado watch. There is a tornado watch in that area.
But I'll say this, Dan. They had the tornado watch this morning, and that Wayne, Oklahoma
tornado
did not happen.
outside of it.
Yep, that happened north of the
And
tornado.
those are those surprises that we want to try to avoid. So you're not surprised, but the weather brings surprise
all the time, especially a system like this, which has just, I mean, every other parameter besides instability is crazy.
I know.
I mean, it is, some of them off the charts.
You should look at that too. We'll load up a little bit later on. We'll load up the meso analysis. Look at that storm by Clayton.
Yeah,
so
I
you can
think
see that little bit of circulation. All these little spins we're gonna have to watch real close.
Whew. That one is that one's got my eye right now as well. Again, this is not in the KNWA Fox 24 coverage area yet, but they are tracking towards the area at this time. So we're watching these very closely. And the further south you get, the more likely you are to see severe weather and that tornado potential. Which, by the way, Dan, you probably saw this. The SPC in their updated outlook removed the tornado risk for Northwest Arkansas, but you can clearly see it starts along I-40 in the south in their latest outlook.
So they already updated it?
They did. They updated it at 7 o'clock.
Oh, no, there's a new one coming out at 10:30.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know if that one was updated.
Yeah, but the 7 o'clock one removed the tornado risk for like southern Washington and those areas.
I got you.
Um,
Go to the Midtown building, Bentonville. This is a beautiful view. It's not the view at all.
Oh, it looks like this is still image right now.
Ah, only unloaded. All right. Do I not have? Must have lost all the presets. Yeah, there you go.
Decatur's moving. Let's see.
Yeah.
Bentonville Square is just frozen.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to change that link.
Let's see here. I can do that right now. These. Oh,
Should be it.
it should be the video. Maybe
Let
the
me see. Maybe the IP address is wrong. Let's see here.
perhaps. Well, that looks relatively recent.
Right.
Don't know why that would be the case.
That is weird. All right.
All right,
figure that
we'll
out.
figure that out. The other ones are working though. Decatur, Lauren.
Oh, I know why. That might be because that's a still.
No,
It's still-
it's trolling you right now.
Yeah, it is.
This is a troll situation.
So the reason we're hopping on here is because we got some storms of concern that are to the southwest of LaPorte County.
Mhm.
And we wanted to make sure everything was launched and ready to go in case these storms do happen to rotate strong enough to prompt tornado potential. And the reason that we're doing that is because it takes a while to set all this stuff up. So we're
Yeah.
just kind of being proactive.
Yeah.
Because there's a chance that this storm does go tornado warning. If that does happen, we'll be on it like that,
Exactly.
like a fly on stick.
Exactly. And you know what? Be 100% transparent.
Woo! Yeah. 100% transparent.
100% transparent. I'm still learning to get everything up as quickly as possible. So,
No worries.
Yeah.
I am too.
yep, and that's why I wanted to get it all up and ready to go now before these storms reach the area, because you want to keep track of these storms. That's why this morning I was just watching like a hawk the radar, because I wanted to see, where the instability was setting up ahead of time. That way we were ready to roll today. So
Getting a call here. I'll answer.
Yeah.
This,
let's go back to Megadoppler here.
Just
Just keep it on here so everybody
Hello.
can see where that area rotation that we're looking at. Just around the Clayton area.
Is this recording? Yeah.
Josh Weisel is on
Um,
this
What is 2
stream.
plus 2?
Looks like I think I know who you're getting a call by. Uh-oh. Trash. Hey, look who's on the stream.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. Looks like some lower value mixed layer cape is creeping up ever so closer to the river valley.
On the
Mesoscale.
mesoanalysis. It's going to be very, very close. This storm that is southwest of LaFleur County, really think we need to watch that.
Yeah, that one's gonna be
Starting to see a nice shelf cloud just west of Van Buren. Cool. Let's check that out. Bring up that Fort network camera.
Miss Laura's.
Now do
Public library?
do the Fort Smith Public Library.
Okay,
Yeah, we should have a.
there we go.
Yeah.
And this is facing to the
This is south.
south.
Yep. We want it to face to the west or southwest, essentially. So it's kind of more southerly than southwest. So let's go southwest and see what we got here. West. Oh yeah, there's a shelf.
Mhm.
I
Oh yeah,
see it.
definitely there. Definitely there.
Why that Bentonville camera wasn't showing?
Let me hold on just a second. It's frozen.
Hmm.
That's weird.
That out.
Yeah, if you're looking on the public library camera right now, just past that church, at the top of the church, you can see that shelf cloud in the background. Definitely something to watch right now, very closely. Because the way that storm's tracking, it would go right through southern LaFleur, and just to the northwest of Waldron, if it kept tracking the way it is. It is really wild though, Dan, when you look at the velocity, you can really see where the instability just stops.
I know.
I mean, like right there, it's just done.
I know.
Pretty
That
crazy.
is pretty wild to see.
Pretty wild. Man, Very thankful for that storm system on Saturday, though. That is for sure. That was a savior. Heavy rain in Bentonville near I Street and Highway 102. I believe that 100%.
There's
It's
gonna be
pouring.
heavy rain.
It's pouring.
That's another thing too. It doesn't take a tornado or big hail or damaging winds to cause issues. You get some heavy rain like what I encountered on my way in, and you're going to get people that are going to be hydroplaning and wrecking on the interstate.
And
So,
speaking of which, I'm going to check out iDrive Arkansas real quick to see if there is any incidents at this current time. I bet you there is.
yeah, for those that are just hopping on, we're being proactive. We're waiting for these storms to roll in. There's a chance they could go tornado warned in LaFleur County, and that's in our weather coverage area. And we'll be doing coverage on that. And then that way we're on it already. So that's one of the reasons we're being proactive.
Absolutely.
Just telling for people that are jumping on.
Absolutely.
Because there's some heavy rain that's coming down. Okay, so wait a minute.
I have a doctor's appointment at 1:30 today in Fort Smith. I live in Poto. Will the storm be out of the area by then?
Yes.
I think so.
By 1:30.
The worst of it will be gone. I may have some lingering rain showers, but no severe weather at that point. Centerton, thundering and lightning. Uh-oh. And
What?
got
It's okay. We'll give her the day off.
give her the day off.
Yeah, lightning is not spelled.
Yes.
Just to let you know.
We have a graphic for that. Let's see here.
Hey, you learn something new every day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're
Shayla said it too. She knows. She
Yeah.
knows. It probably was just a.
Maybe it was
typing it up.
Siri.
It could
Siri
be.
can do that to
Yeah,
you.
it could be autocorrect.
We're just getting the beginning of the frontal cusp and coma.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Look at that storm coming. That's from the shelf right there. You can see no low level circulation.
A lot of wind.
Yeah. But this cell that's down by Pickens, I mean, these storms, you just have to watch them close because they could spin like a top. It won't take long.
Yeah, you look away, you blink,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden they're dropping tornadoes.
Hence, watch this. This is the storm to the southwest of us. Watch all these tornadoes pop up. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Boom. Boom. Like,
boom.
yeah, tornadoes all over.
Explosion.
And there have been confirmed tornadoes. It's going to be a very busy day. This is a very strong system. It's a very big system. I was talking to my mom out west in California, and she had a major windstorm from this system.
That's
major windstorm. Then they had a lot of rain too. Then they even had frost in Palm Springs, California.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wild. Yeah, this. I mean, we got a blizzard going on in Minnesota and South Dakota.
Yeah.
Nothing needs to be said about
Hey,
that.
look at that. GFS showing some winter weather.
Well, and now
that's going to be something.
That's happening, probably.
I don't think it's going to be the 18th. I think that system's a little warmer.
Mhm.
I think, though, the 21st, 22nd, that's going to be the time frame.
I'll say this: if you think this week is going to be cold, get ready for next week.
Really cold.
You want some cold weather? It's coming next week.
A lot of lightning down to the south, south of Fort Smith. And then you've got just moderate to heavy rain that's falling. Heavy rain in Bentonville near I Street, Highway 102. So you guys are on here letting us know that there's heavy rain. And we look at the radar and check this out. I mean, you get to Mega Doppler and you'll see, look at that. And you can see how there's a lot of lightning to the south. And then you go farther north and there's not as much. You know, it's awesome too. Don't forget that, Josh, with this new setup, we can still do weather too with the timestamp. Yeah,
yes, sir.
Because we have Mega Doppler loaded up.
So you can just keep Mega Doppler on weather too. Go to the stream and then just roll with the timestamp. That is quite useful.
That is very much so.
That is
heavy rain near I Street, Highway 102. And so it's definitely coming down. There's no doubt about it.
There's a 100% chance of rain.
Yeah, that's why we went 100%. You can see the rain coming down. Now, is this bad? No. Was it looking bad initially? Yes, it was, but it was always a question of that instability. And honestly, what we did is at least what I did in determining the alert day 6 days out, is I saw the strength of this system. Now look what happened in Dallas,
Yeah.
which was a surprise, I think. They had, the tornado potential, but they had some strong tornadoes come
They
through.
had significant
Decatur had significant damage, Decatur, Texas. Then you had tornadoes that were in Wayne, Oklahoma,
that was
which wasn't even in the risk. Well, it was in the risk, but it wasn't in the watch.
nope.
I know it wasn't in the watch,
not.
and there was no surface-based instability. So the potential with this system was something that couldn't be ignored. And we're still not done. It's not through the river valley, and we still have a few counties that could be getting impacted, including LaFleur County.
Yeah, and this is why it's so good to keep your guard up, because you don't want to be caught off guard by the system.
I had to abandon my coffee in the car so I can get out into my house partially dry. I bet. That is a high risk of I don't know, danger right
That's a
there.
45% significant.
Leaving the coffee, I don't know about that. Rumbling near Lake Ann, James said.
Rumbling.
Yeah. Lake Ann and Bella Vista. So
Mhm.
we'll look at that Bella Vista weather camera. Now, it'll be kind of hard to see some of these lightning bolts, because it's kind of what we call intracloud lightning, and it's daytime.
Yeah, that makes things a little harder.
Although
But
I did have this camera loaded when we had that thunder sleet storm, and there was that lightning bolt on there that was just incredible.
hashtag Emmy.
Well,
Well,
so we'll watch that close.
I'll say this, obviously when it's nighttime, lightning strikes, but I am so happy we finally got a severe weather event that's during the day. So I
Yeah.
can actually see these things from our cameras.
Okay,
So
newest
that-
risk. Let's check it out.
Yep.
It just came out. So what we'll do is I'll load that up. In the meantime, take us with that storms
Yeah.
that are
Let's
rotating.
take a look at that SRV here. So
And SRV stands for storm relative velocity. Yeah.
Um,
You can
so,
still see it
yes,
struggling.
you can see it
It's
struggling.
trying, but it's still
And
struggling.
you notice too how they kind of come in waves, right? You get one little area of rotation, and it either strengthens or it peters out, and then it takes a couple minutes for another one to show up a little bit further south of that. So it's not necessarily recycling. It's more of just these brief areas of rotation showing up and then going away and then showing up and away. It's like a wave. So eventually, hopefully not, but sometimes these storms can, like a cell merger, or they get along the warm front, they, go along the boundary and they take off.
Yeah.
So that's what we're kind of watching for right now with this little area here, because you can see just kind of these little broken areas of rotation. And the further south you get, the stronger it's showing up. Like I bet if we went to the radar that was in Paris, Dan, you'd probably see a pretty strong area of rotation going on. That's
Yeah.
why it's tornado warning.
Yeah.
You get a little bit further north, you got this stronger area of rotation southeast of Clayton. Still not, tightened up enough for a tornado warning, and a little bit weaker further northeast. And that's because the stability is still lacking a little bit.
We have a little bit of time. I think we can kind of geek out a little bit. I mean, we're on Facebook Live. We can
Might as well.
do anything we want. I think we got some people on here that are wondering what's going on. And one of the things that we got to look at is essentially what I like to say is looking out the window. And so looking out the window, what's the best way to make a weather
Magic 8 ball.
Well, but the best
Yes.
way is to look out the window.
Yes.
Because looking out the window is telling you what's happening right now.
Yes.
So why would I say, is it raining outside without looking?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
obviously we have the radar, which is essentially what I say, looking out the window. But enough of that. Let's show you looking out the window, which is our parameters, our conditions that are happening essentially right now. So this is what we call mesoanalysis, and it's done. And there's a lot of things on here that the Storm Prediction Center computes by a computer model every hour. And so one of the things I want to show you is this wind shear. If we look at the 0 to 1 kilometer helicity, and you can see that we're looking at a 600 contour, a 600 in EBS 50, and a 700 closed contour So there's actually 700 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative velocity.
That's a, that's off the charts.
That's about as much as the Cincinnati tornado that happened. It was actually a little. It's actually a little more. Cincinnati tornado was around 600. This is a little bit more, but there it is.
No instability.
No surface-based instability. Now, according to this, we go back 4 hours, and remember, this is just a computer model, but you can see that, by the way, Wayne, Oklahoma is right about here. It's south of Norman. It's south of Purcell. So Wayne, Oklahoma is right here on the southern tip of those counties. You have Canadian County. And as you'll see here, we go back. It didn't show that instability nosing in, but you can see it trying.
Yep.
And this, by the way, was let's see here. That's 12Z. So the tornado happened in Wayne, Oklahoma, at like 5.
Yep.
What is he saying right there?
Well, the surface-based instability extends down to southeast Choctaw County. The pattern could shift east fast enough. That the tornado-warned stronger storms are shunted east of Choctaw County, and lightning has faded some in the more northern cells.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and here's something that I found really interesting, Dan.
Yeah.
That you talked about before in the past, comparing the Cincinnati tornado to this event.
Yeah.
The one thing that the Cincinnati tornado did have, that this does not have, was the southerly wind component.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I was watching very closely this morning and kind of harping on when I was doing my podcast. We talked about it. Is that we're going to watch these winds, and if they start shifting to the south, across the board, that means we're starting to get that deep moisture streaming in really fast. It never did. It stayed southeast the whole morning.
Yep. And we were advecting cooler air and not as humid air and lower, fuel for these thunderstorms, like you said. That's why that southerly component to the wind is so important. Yeah. Now, I will say that southerly wind happened all night. Well, guess who did have the southerly wind? Wayne, Oklahoma.
Wayne, Oklahoma did.
Wayne, Oklahoma. And look at what happened.
That
storm ramped up pretty quick.
There's another area of rotation.
Yeah, there is. So let's check it out. But that's kind of looking out the window. Now, another thing too is that sometimes 0 to 3 kilometer cape. Well, not sometimes. One of the most important things is 0 to 3 kilometer cape when you're talking about tornado potential. Now, why is that? Well, because 0 to 3 kilometer cape, meaning from the surface to 3 kilometers aloft, the horizontal roll that's near the ground is very low to the ground, well below 3 kilometers, and you want to know how much fuel there is for that to be lifted. Well, that's what's called 0 to 3 kilometer cape, and that's why that's super important in order to have tornado potential, especially with what we call 2 LCS tornadoes, the quasi-linear convective system tornado. So here is that little area that's showing up. You can see the little bit of elongated rotation. Neshoba and west of Pickens and northeast of Findlay and Hanobi. Hanobi, yes.
Hanobi.
Yep.
Yes.
If we, you can see the camera slide the radar over. And like I said, I learned something new every day.
I could have sworn that was.
Yeah, but it is Hanobi. I mean, it looks just like it, but the locals, they say Hanobi, and we're going to say it like the locals do. What are we talking about? We're talking about this right here. Hanobi. Which, by the way, November 4th was right in line with that storm.
Yeah.
And so that is coming very close to that area where we know tornadoes can happen in the Ouachita Mountains, the southern sections of the Ouachitas. I mean, you got some pretty big terrain there.
It's like a tornado factory.
It is, and it's the worst chasing terrain you can possibly imagine. Unless you have a drone. Take the drone up and you're good to go. But
or maybe get the Dominator out there.
Yeah, the Dominator plow through the trees.
The Dominator 20.
Yeah. Never stop chasing. All right, so there's that cell. Yeah, there are some rumbles of thunder if we're looking here. Now, see, we're not really, you can see the lightning, but if we zoom in and you look at the velocity, it's just, there's nothing there. So there's nothing, along the leading edge of the line, but south of Winslow, you can see that lightning that's showing up. And so, yeah, just really nothing super major. We're just really on for these storms that are moving towards the floor count.
What we're doing is we're kind of like, here's the analogy I'd use. We're kind of like a boxer that has their gloves up right now. We're staying on guard.
Mhm.
Yep, just in case we need to throw a punch at these storms.
Okay,
You know,
that's a good analogy.
So, because
Meanwhile, Mother Nature's like,
yeah, it's Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
It's Mike
yeah.
Tyson. I'm gonna punch him.
yeah. Where's Sandman?
Mr. Sandman,
Yeah, remember that?
punch out. Yep.
Man, I think he was tougher than Tyson, to be honest with
He
you.
was.
Because he had that little glitch,
Oh,
and he was a little his pattern was a little less predictable.
but you, Macho Man though, with that whirlwind punch,
Oh, yeah.
that was an instinct.
Yeah,
That thing,
yeah.
he had like a tick on
He
that.
would hit you,
Yeah.
but I like Bull when you punch him in the stomach
Yeah.
and he'd be dead
Yep.
immediately. We're talking about Mike Tyson's
Mike
punch out.
Tyson.
We digress.
Yes.
But anyways, going back to the radar, there's that elongated circulation. If you look at the normalized rotation, it'll be elongated.
Elongated.
Now, one of the things that we got to find out is, okay, so we look at the line. I can hear some rumbles of thunder. Let's go back to that line. So I'm going to do a little lesson for you, Josh, along with many others that are on Facebook Live, which not many others, but several others. Becky's rolling her eyes. Hey, we got to have a little fun. I mean, so I'm like 3-4 hours ahead of my start time on my shift.
Lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah. So, anyways, of course, when the storms move in, Becky, and when
All
if they
business.
become severe, and if they, prompt a tornado warning, will be all business. We'll be talking about Mike Tyson. But anyways, this is what I was going to show you is we look at the spectrum width, and the spectrum width will tell us what's called the UDCZ, the updraft downdraft convergence zone. So this is essentially how that line is oriented from southwest to northeast, right? So if we go back to our mesoanalysis product, and to determine whether this will be a QLCS tornado potential, we're going to look at multi-parameters, and we're going to look at this right here.
I was seeing that the shear
The
lines
0 to 3 kilometer bulk shear.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest with you, what it is that there's some 0 to 3 kilometer cape that's nosing into southwest Missouri. You can see that. And let's see, we go to county warning. I don't think you can count on this cape. Nope.
Well,
Yeah, you can't. Nope.
Nope.
So you
That's
can't.
unfortunate.
Well, yeah, you can actually. It
But
just
it's
doesn't
very
show
hard to
up.
see.
So if we go back here, we'll bring this over and
Maybe make the.
here. Let me do this.
don't
Yeah, I
think there's
can't.
much.
Nope. Anyways, yeah, there are counties. They're very hard to see, but LaFleur County is right about here. Now, this line is oriented like this. This is 50 knots. That's not perpendicular. The 0 to 3 kilometer shear, basically the line normal component, it's not, it's not line normal to the line. It's actually parallel to the line, not perpendicular to the line. So what does that tell you? It tells you that even though it's 50, 55 knots, so there is a range that can have because you take, the sine of the angle of the line, and I'll show you this a little bit later on. But it's more parallel than perpendicular. So if this line what it does, if it would jut out and become more northwest to southeast, then that, like a Boeing segment, then that would be more in line, which, by the way, that did happen in, you guessed it, Wayne, Oklahoma.
And so basically what you're looking at when you do that, and just a guess, you're basically trying to see if the shear lines up with the storm mode.
Yes.
And if it doesn't line up, then it doesn't verify for spectrum width.
Yeah, but it doesn't line up with the 0 to 3 kilometer shear vector. Because what's happening is with the mesoanalysis, it's determining that 3 kilometer cape has to be there as well. That's also very limited. So what we can do is we can bounce back and forth. There's the 0 to 3 kilometer cape. There's the line. And if you're noticing, it's almost exactly parallel to that shear vector. Yeah.
Up and down the whole line.
And you know what? Actually, I Okay, so I take that back, Josh. I take that back wholeheartedly.
Okay.
This is actually, and like I said, it's a little early. This is line normal. The shear vector is going to be this way, and it's exactly line normal to the line. So that's something that we got to watch for sure.
Another thing that too is the radar as well. Once it lines up with the Fort Smith radar.
But the problem is, yeah, exactly. You're right. It is lining up, and so it's going to be harder to detect those cells. The QLCS tornado potential. So it looks like that line's kind of weakening. I don't want to drop off just quite yet because you know how quickly these storms can ramp up, and there still is a little bit of time for these to move in. There is stability returning, but basically the moral of the story is we really dodged a bullet with this storm. If you don't know, if you haven't heard, there were tornadoes north of Dallas, significant tornado damage, as a matter of fact. You can see that right here. There was another confirmed tornado in Wayne, Oklahoma. So what we do is, we go here, we'll show you. There's a look at Wayne tree damage reported. It was more than just that.
It was more.
Yeah.
We saw the videos and pictures.
And then,
ooh.
Oh no, Grapevine. I was thinking that was going to be very, very close to the mall. I wonder if the mall took a hit.
I do have I found a video of it as well.
Did the mall get hit?
I don't know because it was a little far away.
Yeah.
But I was tracking it because I used the tornado detector,
yeah.
and I saw that thing go through some subdivisions. I have to look back at what those specifically were, but it was just to the northwest of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty heavily populated area. But I'll tell you what, Central Louisiana, based on what we've already saw this morning, there could be a potential tornado outbreak today.
Someone's saying that we're covering up where Gravit is. So we had that view because we're focused on the storms farther south. But right now, there you go. Now it's not covering up Gravit. So if you want to see something in specific, you can get to see it right there.
Heavy rain.
Sure. So Andy, there you go. I think it missed the mall. It hit Sam's Club, Discount Tire, and Hospital, from what I heard. Okay, cool, Josh. Appreciate that. I was driving my son to school at the time, so yeah, no problem, Andy. We're just focused on the cells that are most concerned, but yeah, definitely some rain coming down. We knew that was the case. Also, that stratiform rain not getting picked up by the models as it never does.
That's one thing you taught me after November 4th.
Yeah,
it's about that uniform rain, keeping those rain chances a little bit longer.
Exactly.
The models will never pick up on it.
They always kind of show that coming really fast, and which doesn't necessarily happen. So,
and we may have some more rain overnight tonight. I increase the rain chances tomorrow morning. That's not going to be anything major, but something that may.
She said, "I'm new here, not liking the weather," and rightfully so. It was very eerie this morning. The sky had that reddish, orangish glow. I wonder if we can look at a time lapse here and check it out. And we'll look and see if we can get a time lapse from that.
Yeah, I was noticing that too on the RDOT cameras as well this morning. And when you went to the RDOT cameras in Fort Smith, this is what kind of spooked me, was seeing that local jet kick. You could see it happening in real time.
Yeah.
Like, because I was staying on this one camera down in Fort Smith, and early in the morning, I wasn't moving very fast, and then
all of a sudden,
5 minutes later,
it picked up big time.
Yep.
Let's see if we can see that sky this morning.
Oh, Colby Ward just retweeted this really cool video of the tornado crossing the highway near Grapevine.
Was that which one is that? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We
need to check that out.
Let's look at that.
Yeah.
So let's go to 6:30. Yeah, we could show that on the Twitter feed or on the feed. Well, it didn't look as orange on that. It was a lot.
Maybe
not much to see there.
Yeah.
Not much at all.
Rain.
Yeah, definitely some rain. How long will the rain last? Probably till about 2:00 in the afternoon, Drew.
Yeah.
For us, I bet you it's out of here. Oh, no.
Yep.
Someone sent me a photo of the food court at Grapevine Mills, Mall was damaged. Oh, man. Oh, that's a good
Interesting.
question. Those ions hit and there aren't green on the trees, I think that gets that weird orange color. So it had something to do too with the clouds kind of rolling in the way that the clouds were, but that's
That's interesting.
interesting. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, we got to show that.
Yeah.
Let's bring that up.
So Colby was the one who tweeted that. Shout out Colby Effect for saving Northwest Arkansas today. It wasn't the lack of stability. It was the cold
Yeah,
that killed everything.
and there's the Fort Worth tornado. I still can't believe Mike Leach died.
It's
I
heartbreaking.
mean,
It's so sad.
what happened? That happened so
A
fast.
massive heart attack is what I heard. He had a previous heart condition as well. That's what I've heard, at least. But it's just heartbreaking. And one of the greatest coaches of all time, that's for sure.
Oh wow. Oh, wait. Unconfirmed tornado? Why?
Why unconfirmed? That's definitely a big time tornado.
That stuff is frustrating. It's like, no, that's confirmed.
Well, did you see? Was that a
Yeah,
power
that was a
flash?
power flash. Okay, stand by. We'll show you.
Check out this unconfirmed tornado.
See, a lot of times people say, it's unconfirmed because the Weather Service hasn't confirmed it yet. But in this case, it's confirmed. So, because there's video of it. There's the power flash right there. Yeah. Then you can see all that stuff getting ripped up.
Back it up.
That's on the entrance ramp. Yeah, look at that.
You don't want to
Hard to see. Look at how rain wrapped that is.
You got to get
Hard to see.
You got to get into that storm to see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like twisted. Get too close to that storm and
Yeah.
pick up your car.
So, anyways, that's pretty crazy.
There's another confirmed tornado
Right now.
Oh
Oh
there
yeah,
it
I
is.
see that one.
Sure.
Yeah, that was video of Grapevine. It absolutely was. So coming back to here, let's look at some stuff here. 925 winds are absolutely screaming at 40, 45 knots. That is really strong. Now we are getting the southerly component. So it just barely missed.
And it was really a race too, because the one thing I was watching was the form front position compared to where the line was. And the line was out ahead of it just barely.
Yeah.
Oh, is that sig tornado?
That's violent tornado.
Violent tornado potential.
Yeah.
Oh, that's violent tornado potential.
Yeah, that's the violent tornado parameter.
That's some of the highest I've seen.
That's way up
That's
there.
way. Usually, if you got like 1 or 2, it's high.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. And let's see. Well, and we can't put that along. So if we do this, there's the 0 to 500 meter, and then we go here and look.
This could be a dangerous
This could be
day.
a really dangerous day for
Louisiana.
Louisiana. It's very bad. It'll probably overperform as an
And remember, we saw that day 6 outlook.
Watch that instability surge northward. So there it is, nowhere to be found in Louisiana. And watch what happens over time. That comes back up. It doesn't take much with this type of system. It does not take much.
Honestly, 1,000 km.
So someone's saying, where was that tornado warning northwest of Fort Smith? No, it's Fort Worth. Fort Worth, not Fort Smith. Yep. No Fort Smith, Fort Worth. I know that can be confusing. You can get confused with that. I'll show you. We'll take a look at that. Now, we don't want to lose our guard. What's those cells doing southwest of?
Keep it alive.
Okay, good.
Yep. So there's still, those little areas. Like this one right here is, one just
starting to go a little bit more.
Yep, that one right there. Maybe one just to the northwest of Whitesboro as well. It could be going on. Kind of three. So one west of Pickens, one to the east of Clayton, and then one to the northwest of Whitesboro. But here's something interesting. You go down the line with all 3 of these areas of rotation. The farthest north one's the weakest. Then it gets a little bit stronger northeast of Clayton. And this one to the west of Pickens is one that that's where the greater deep layer moisture is. Tornado reported 12 miles west of Paris, Texas. There's that. Yeah, that's that.
All right, let's go all the way back here. Well, they did have tornadoes. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back in time, and we're gonna take a look at 10:30 last night. And first of all, these storms that moved out of the Texas Panhandle really didn't do much. And then look at that other explosion of storms that happened farther south. Now we've got that tornado watch that's about to expire. Your thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible. And you can see, okay, tornado warning in Wichita Falls. Yeah, I didn't even know about that. They did have the watch for the Dallas area, so a good heads up by the Storm Prediction Center there.
Tornado warnings south of
Look at all those tornado warnings. Now here's where the watch didn't have the tornado warning wasn't in the watch, and that's because the instability wasn't there. But what happened? That isolated cell emerged. It emerged. It came through. There's Maysville. If we zoom in, you'll probably see Wayne. There's Wayne, and then there's the storm coming through. Look at the RFD surge.
What did you say?
Rear inflow jet surge.
MCV?
Yeah, there was an MCV because if you watch it, you can see it better on the radar. But this is high scale. See that rotation?
Oh,
you can see that. It's almost like an MCV.
That's Wayne's Springdale, like you said.
Yeah, Wayne was Springdale, March 30th. So very similar system. And then you can see those cells as they went. They started to weaken because they lost instability.
There was that strong tornado.
There's the considerable tornado that went through Decatur. Yep. Now the one that was for Fort Worth in the Grapevine area.
The Weatherford, Willow Park, that was the area. I was seeing on the PTBS that they had a PTBS problem.
So here's Grapevine. Here comes the storm right there, and there's the tornado. Grapevine and Grapevine Mills Mall. Well, I did not know that food court got hit, man. Have you been to Rainforest Cafe?
I have been to Rainforest Cafe with the animatronic monkeys and elephants.
Cool.
Yeah, they got several of them at Disney.
Yep. Well, guys, once this line starts to come through, if that doesn't hold up, and it looks like it isn't, it looks like we're just missing the severe weather potential. So it was very, very close. I don't think we need to be on the rest of the afternoon.
I mean, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. If something pops up, we'll let you know about it. Yeah, that video was great fun. Absolutely. Before we leave, you got any questions at all? For sure. So we dodged a bullet, guys. The potential was there, and this could have got really nasty. However, we had the storm system that came through Saturday. It cleared out the Gulf of Mexico moisture. It prevented that moisture from returning, and we got saved.
It was definitely
It's not completely done yet in Northwest Arkansas. Definitely not going to get that weather, which is why, in anticipation, we removed the alert day. And I did that on Sunday.
Yep, but we kept it for the River Valley.
Kept it for the River Valley. It was close. Yes, it was too close for comfort. So there's a little bit of moderate to heavy rain coming through. See the storm popping up. You see all that energy. Definitely some rumbles of thunder. Make sure we aren't letting our guard down on something.
It does look like this
line's weakening. There's spins in the atmosphere, but it's just nothing that's deep enough to prompt tornado potential. And we got along this line, maybe a little bit there by Kenobi. We look there. There's the elongated line. We'll continue to watch that, but as that continues to lift north, it'll start to weaken. At the same time, though, that instability is racing north as well. Will it catch up?
close. It'll be close. It'll be close. It all depends on where that wind.
Does Gravit get tornadoes? Absolutely, Andy. Gravit has seen tornadoes. As, there have been
Kind of,
tornadoes. in Gravit.
kind of is a ground zero for that. West Arkansas tornadoes.
Yeah.
Kind of Sound Springs, Gravit area. That's
Rachel said no, but well,
no tornadoes today.
no tornadoes today.
Yes.
But does Gravit get tornadoes? Yes, but not today. However, it might be interesting just to check this out while we're on here.
Archive.
Yep. And this isn't perfect, by the way. It's not perfect from what I realized. But it does a pretty good job. I can hear the rain coming down.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that's great news is that drought that we had during the summer.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
That's gone.
She gone.
She gone.
All right. Okay. So, no, there's a lot of missing tornadoes. A lot of missing tornadoes, but we'll show you here real quick. This is the Gravit path, and so there's one right there that was 91, October 28th, 91. I remember that one.
I was gonna say, I mean, I believe you.
98.
I bet you remember that one.
Nope. Don't remember that one either. I know this one though. I know this one. Which one do you think this is?
I think that's 2016.
Yeah.
So you did know that one.
Which, by the way, that was one of the 30% 6 days out.
Really?
Yep.
That was
That
that
was-
was the one of them.
One of the days.
Yep.
That was 30% 6 days out on the list.
And we had that day 6 outlook for this one as well in Southern Arkansas. That one was probably because I remember we looked at all the different ones that had been issued. All
There's March 12th, 2006. We know that one. Same one right here, March 12th, 2006. But, well, where's that one? In 1954. Oh, maybe this is it right here. There it is. There it is.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there's 49. I thought that was 49. Yeah. So there's the tornado. It lifted quite a ways southwest, and then it lifted northeast. A lot of people think that J Street and Bentonville High School got hit by the tornado. It's actually RFD that came through.
Really?
That knocked down the posts and damaged the building. It wasn't actually the tornado. Yeah, there's confirmation of that right there. J Street is where Bentonville High School is. So the tornado touched down shortly after that.
Yeah,
it was like literally a block, but it was the riverfront downdraft that caused that. All right. Well, that about does it, folks. We're just gonna continue to watch this just for a little bit longer. I hate to drop off and have to reload everything. Yeah. There you go. Tornado warning coming back up towards McCurtain County.
Where they had that big tornado on November 4th. Yeah, similar area.
Josh, I'll let you take this question. Will we have snow before Christmas?
Okay. You're putting me on the spot.
I am. Yeah, I'm getting out of this.
We're gonna new hashtag blame Josh Rugger. I'll say this about it, and Dan, you'd probably agree. There is definitely a better than average chance this year that we see snow before or during Christmas. Usually that's typically about less than 10% in most locations across Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, though I know in the higher trade of Northwest Arkansas it's about 10 to 15%. A little bit higher there. But I'll say this, we're going to have a lot of cold air for the rest of December moving in, and it's going to stick around for a long time. And it's not just going to be in the 40s type of cold air. We'll be around freezing a lot of days as we hit the middle to latter half of December. There's also some indication that it's already been a very active December, so it's probably going to stay active throughout the rest of this year. I'm going to say the potential for snow before Christmas is pretty dang high right now. I mean, and yeah, that's bold to say this far out, but you look at the ensembles, which damn, that's probably the greatest thing you ever taught me. Was that ensembles are the best way to forecast the whole thing.
What I've learned from the National Weather Service and a lot of other talks and stuff like that. And so, yeah.
Yep, and that's the thing I look at now when we look at long range forecasting.
You have to, because if you're looking at one solution, chances are that that might not be correct.
Yep, and that's the thing that you see on social media that post like the 384-hour GFS. It's one solution, right? But if you look at the ensembles, it's probably more like 5 out of 10 that show anything that far out. So, yeah, I would say Troy and Seth. I know this. Both of you guys asked this question basically at the same time. By the way, might I add? I'll say we have a greater than average chance, a greater than 10 to 15% chance that we see snow before Christmas. And I think Dan, you have it at 30% right now. And so that's a pretty
30% is 3 times above
three
$5.
three times 3 times greater than average chance that we see snow before or during Christmas. Don't forget, a lot of places are possibly going to be closed the 26th. Uh-oh. Water vapor time.
I got to tell you something. There's a sector too. This will take a little while to load, but you've got to see this. You can actually see the supercell rotating on the VisSat.
Wow.
Yeah. We're still waiting, Ben, on this storm just to make sure. I mean, tornado warning south there probably isn't going to make it. Probably not going to do it, but it's close enough. Yeah. All right. So these are the cells.
This is pretty cool.
Watch this. Look at that. You
can
almost see that. Yeah. Yeah. See that?
That is unbelievable.
The updraft. You can almost see the rotation in the storm.
Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool.
And there's the shadowing. Remember, the sun's rising in the eastern sky, so the shadowing is left of the storm, unlike typical. When you see it at sunset, to the right of the storm. But
that is amazing.
That's pretty awesome.
That is amazing.
Back to 3 hours. Yeah, you can see those cells.
Those just took
off. Now look at the shear, too.
Oh my goodness, the shear is crazy.
So you see low levels, which is the clouds that underneath that are going from south to north. And then you've got upper level clouds moving west southwest to east northeast. See that wind shear? We're backing up there. Yeah. So basically, I'll point it out with some arrows. Yeah. So I'll recognize these lines as low level wind shear. If we play that, you'll see low level wind shear, mid level wind shear.
You can literally see how
and upper level wind shear.
That equals kaboom.
Yeah, that's the wind shear that we're talking about.
Yep.
So someone had a question.
The day wants to your outlook on NWS website seems to think Z time is 1905Z, but 19Z would be 1 p.m.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Send
us the link to that website.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Yeah, those storms are taking off. And then you look here. Another way you can look at storm intensity, which a lot of people don't, is let's look at the mesosector IR, infrared. This will take just a little while to load.
A lot quicker now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are some pretty intense storms. This is going to be a big day.
Yeah.
It already was bad. And see, that still kind of took off. That's what the heavy rain was. Look at how it dies though as it gets farther north. You can see the lack of instability. There's a storm.
Just dumped all its rain.
And here's the tornado one. So we can put the warnings on there and show you. It's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
So we look here. there's the tornado warning storm. You can see how that's definitely the strongest. The colder cloud tops, the grays and blacks. Get farther north, there's the cell that's rotating a little bit over by Pickens, Talahena, but it just doesn't really have as much. You see it trying to develop, but just not really doing it. It looks like it's about what's growing. Little area right here. Yeah,
Tornado warning for Choctaw.
yeah, that's
that.
that's county west of McCurtain.
Significant thunderstorm will impact southeastern Florida County. So they issued this.
Is that what it said?
Yeah, significant weather. Yeah, that's a little area of.
So if we go back to the viz stat here, let's do that again and let's see. You can pick out the higher cloud tops. When you're flying in a plane, you'd be able to see this. You can see the higher cloud tops there. And you get farther south, and you get really big angles. But wow, the wind shear is so much that you can actually see underneath the anvil, and you can see the cells blowing up. That's pretty cool.
That's rare to see.
Yeah, it really is.
That just shows you how crazy this environment is. It's only going to get more crazy.
For areas
Central
to the
Louisiana.
south, yeah.
Central Louisiana. Good catch there,
Yeah.
man.
So if we go here, look at the storm, it's almost through northwest Arkansas. So
Well, it's just a little area right here in the east of Whitesboro that we need to watch.
yeah, Jacob, sometimes it takes a little while to hit their server, just to let you know. So something to watch. I bet you there's other tornado videos that are coming out on Twitter, but I can't really show them.
Wow.
All right.
That's rain wrapped.
Well, anywho, yeah, it's super rain wrapped. Watch those areas. It's still a little bit to watch. So,
whoa, did you see that? Did you see the lights in the video? Go back to the.
Oh yeah, they flicker. Oh, did you see the explosion?
Oh,
There, yeah,
oh my goodness.
yeah. I retweeted.
Oh,
Yeah, you can see that.
that's a transformer.
Those are transformers exploding. Man,
Wow, that is a strong, violent tornado.
yeah, maybe not violent, definitely strong. It's well, I don't know. You never have to know.
I was thinking twisted.
Yeah, twisted. Yeah. All right, real quick. There's that area of circulation. Still chatting it up.
Gotta watch
It's really falling
it. It is
apart,
falling
though.
apart. Yeah, if you go back to Feast King's.
You can see it surging north. It did the same thing with that Wayne, Oklahoma, but then it just dies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. So thanks for tuning in to Facebook Live. We're on here just in case something did pop up in the River Valley. It was very, very close. I think we're dodging it, though. So I'll have the latest forecast tonight. I know Josh, you're going to get to bed probably. Get some shut-eye.
About to sleep.
Or maybe he'll play Twisted, to be honest.
Now I might do that instead.
All right. We'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. We'll keep you up to date. If anything happens, we'll launch this back over and we'll start another stream. See you guys.